We would like to explain actual emotional understanding and emotional containment and emotional release. We're going to go through the process. So when a child appears to have some emotions, and these emotions will show up in their facial reaction, in their physical reaction, in the way that they're behaving, and these are mostly emotions that are uncomfortable for the child. And therefore, since they don't know what to do with it, they are acting out in somewhere. So what you want to do is stop the acting out and actually bring the child to monitor and look at whatever it is, and then choose to either contain it or release it. So when a child is acting out, and can you share a little bit about maybe ways of acting out in this age group?
Sure. So the child might just get upset at a friend because of a word the friend said. They might get upset at a homework they have to do and they don't know how to do it. They might get upset over they want to play with something and it's not available. Or it might be something that is not even reality. They are just thinking of this friend looked at me this way, they are making fun of me. They might get upset over that. I think it's better if we talk about a negative emotion like an upset, which happens more often. That will give a better idea of how to handle it. So let's say a child comes in and throws their backpack on the floor and starts acting out in the classroom, and that's very destructive for the teacher and for other students. So what the teacher or the assistant teacher can do is to remove the child from the situation.
So the way we also remove the child from the situation is sitting at the same level of the child first and holding your hand. Now they might hold your hand or they might not, but you hold your hand in an open space, and that's an invitation. It's an openness of your body language as an invitation. Now imagine sitting with a child with an open invitation such as this versus, any of that is going to create more of a threat for a child. They'll be scared, or they'll be more angry, or they'll close down. So when you want a child to be open to you, your physical body, your facial expression, your emotional regulation matters at that moment too. So you sit in the same level of the child, look at them in their eyes. Even if they're not looking at you, still you start looking at their eyes. You bring your voice down from a place of safety, and you call their name. You would say, for example, Alice. Alice, and you open your hand and say, honey, it just seems like you are upset right now. I would like to support you. Let's go take some personal time. Let's go take a time out together. Let's go have a personal space so we could kind of look at what's going on with you, and then we could come back. So that's how you will take a child safely into a space which is not with everybody else first.
Yes, if the incident happens that two children are fighting, you first attend to the needs of the one that has been harmed. Separate both of them from the classroom, not together. Each one goes into a different space. And then as soon as you're sure that the person who was harmed is safe and everything is okay, then you go and attend to the one that is having the emotional outburst.
Yes. So then when you can create also in your classroom or outside the classroom, sometimes it's personal space. You could have a particular chair, which is comfortable, or a bean bag, which is comfortable. But it shouldn't feel like a punishment. Go to the corner, turn around, don't look at anybody, like we're going to isolate you. Not from that space, but it's almost like this is a safe place for us to go in and with it. So as you take the child there, again, sitting in the same level with them, then you ask them, what's going on with you? What is the feeling? And then like, I don't know. So you call some of the feelings. Do you feel upset? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel angry? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel annoyed? Do you feel guilty? Whatever it is that shows up because you're sitting there looking at them, come up with whatever the feeling is showing up. And until they get, say, yet one of them, they kind of hold their hand or say, where is it in your body? Show me where it is in your body. Allow them to start looking at their body, because emotions are expressed and felt within their body. So when they say wherever it is, okay, if they're older and they can count, you can also ask them from intensity 0 to 10. Like, is a 0 means like it's really not that bad at all. 10 is like really bad. Because then you could use those measurements to also allow them to calm down, because then they have a measurement in their head. But if they're younger, you just ask them where it is. And then you also say back, oh, it's in your stomach, or it's in your hands, it's in your shoulder, or whatever it back, wherever it is. Okay. And then you let them know to close their eyes, pay attention to the feeling, and you say the feeling like, they say, maybe I'm sad. So you pay attention to the sadness in your stomach, and then take a deep breath and take whatever that is and then blow it out. Let's take another deep breath and take calmness in and then blow it out. And then as they're sitting in there, say, does the sadness have anything to say? Does the sadness want to talk? Does the sadness have anything that wants me to know about you? And maybe the child will start talking at that moment and say, what is it that they want? And then you can ask, what is it that you want? And they'll say to you. And that's where you also create, again, the agency of the person thinking, what is it that I want and how can I receive it? And that's how a child becomes self-sufficient, their self-esteem goes high, I'm worthy of wanting, needing, and the world, can give it to me. The confidence of that I am, and you're teaching them communication. So not only you're teaching them to identify their emotion, you're teaching them to identify their thought process, you're teaching them to identify their intention, you're teaching them how to communicate their intention into whatever their desire is. And then you ask them, how would you like to get that? What would you like to do to get whatever you want? So now you're teaching them what type of action that they can do. Sometimes they'll tell you, and sometimes they'll say, I don't know. And when they say, I don't know, then you can say, may I give you some suggestions? And then you give them some suggestions. What if we do this? And let's go try. What if we do that? If you're upset with the other kid, what is it that you want? Why? I want to be his friend. Okay, so what can you do to be his friend? And then it's like, I don't know. And then you may say, well, maybe you can tell him that you want to be his friend. Maybe you could tell him that I like you. I want to play with you. So you'll teach him the communication skills in how to get what they want.
It's very important also to remember that we don't want to drill the child to tell us what happened, because sometimes they come from home and something bothered them at home and they are not ready to talk about it. They are not ready to talk about anything that is going on outside of the classroom. They might be ashamed of it. They might be feeling unsafe about talking about it. We just want them to tell us about their emotions and where the emotion is and how they can release the emotions. What I do is I ask them, when they tell me my emotion is in my shoulder, I ask them, what do you want to do? Do you want to take deep breaths? Do you want to put your hand on your shoulder and take deep breaths? Or do you want me to hold your shoulder and help you take deep breaths? And whatever the child says or the student says is perfectly fine. Now, as they get older, they probably wouldn't want you to touch their shoulder, or if it's in their stomach, touch their stomach, but they will tell you that it's better if we give them the choice. Also, they're teaching them how to choose and how to be in control of how they want to release the emotion. And they actually tell you, I ask them, because children I work with are younger, I ask them if the emotion has been released. Do they still feel the upset in their stomach? And they sometimes they say yes. And I ask them, is it less or more? They can explain it's less. So we try it until it's completely gone, or until the child feels now they are okay. When they are okay, then we start talking about, so this, tell me, what did you want to achieve with what you were doing? And then they tell you, and then I ask them, did you achieve it? You wanted the toy. You got upset with your friend. Did you get the toy? And the child says, for example, no, I didn't, or yes, I did. Okay, you did it. You got the toy. But did you see your friend got upset too? And the child says, yes. And then I ask them, did you want to upset your friend? And then at that moment, they say, no, I didn't want to upset my friend. Then we go and we apologize to the friend because they did something that they didn't want to achieve, that the behavior was not what they wanted to achieve with. And then we come up with the solution of, okay, so next time when this happens, what can we do not to upset your friend, but also you can get your toy and play.
And you're teaching them problem solving.
Yes.
That one way might not work, and how do you problem solve to find another way? And this is where you're supporting the child's creation and creativity in solution finding to come to play. Many times it's easier sometimes that, oh, the child doesn't understand, I'm just going to tell them what to do. Yes, you could do that, but we're limiting, and the child will pick up whatever they think out of what you said and they will do it. But if the similar things happens when you're not there, they have no idea what to do. However, this methodology teaches them in how to think, how to implement, how to look at alternatives, and what are the process that they have to go in order to make those decisions. And you'll be amazed that when the child, you spend a little bit of time at the beginning of the school year to do these things, the rest becomes smooth. The good thing about these methodologies also, when the child learns the skill, they'll do it with other people. So it makes your life much easier. Because I remember you sharing with me that one time they thought you were upset and they were trying to help you now.
Yes.
And then when other people, students were like that, even without you having to do it, now the children were taking the other child to the safe place, and they were actually acting like the counselor for them or the teacher for them and making them go through that.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
It's a process that they learn, and they want to show off that they know the process. And they also, it's a lifetime skill that they learn. I learned this skill when I was a complete adult, and I use it every single time that I get upset or I have feelings that I don't know how to regulate. And when children learn it at a very young age, they have it for the rest of their lives with them. And it helps also the teachers. It's not only for students, but if you learn these skills, you can regulate your emotions, you will be a better teacher, and you can help much better the children regulate their emotions.
And you can do it even in front of them. I've asked teachers and parents to do it and say, I'm upset and I really feel it in my stomach. Let me take care of myself first so I can be there for you. And then you role play what you do exactly while the child is looking at you. And they're looking at you, calming down and being kind to them. And then it's like, okay, now let's do it with you. And then they'll do it with you. And so not only you're doing it for yourself, you're role modeling it right at that time with the child. And then, that happens. And even if you think like the whole class is going uproar, you can always say, stop. Okay, now everybody together, let's do this. So that you're teaching everybody and bringing the whole system together in that way. And so you can also kind of, do it in a group setting if you feel like the whole class is getting uproar. More to come.